Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for choosing our show. I don't take this for granted. Thank you very much for your continued support. You are the reason we are here. You give us the strength. I always maintain that the show would be very boring without you guys. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, William Samoei Ruto is a man under siege. He is cornered because William Ruto has a scar, an indelible mark that has been left, and it will never be erased in the memories of Kenyans. It will go down in the annals of history. And for those who have been watching the channel, yesterday I told you that this scar was left by our young people, the Gen Zs who led a protest against the Finance Bill 2024 when the members of parliament failed to listen to Kenyans and they decided instead to serve their master, the executive wing of the government. That scar is one that continues to torment and haunt William Samoei Ruto, and I think he regrets it. But it's all too late because the damage has been done. Just the other day, when Uhuru Kenyatta spoke in Uganda, he reiterated what he has said before, that the time is now, not tomorrow, for the young generation to rise up and save Africa. And Uhuru told them that no one will come to our continent to rescue us. And Uhuru reiterated that the numbers favors the youth. And he told them that you have the energy, you are well informed. This elicited a very bitter reaction from Ruto's president worship team. People like Murkomen, people like Silvanus Osoro, members of parliament who are allied to the UDA, attacked Uhuru Kenyatta because anytime you touch on anything about the youths, they are reminded of that scar. They know it is painful. They know it is one that will cost them. And they really attacked Uhuru Kenyatta. But before the dust settles on what Uhuru said, boom comes the BBC with their new expose, Blood Parliament. And the BBC released very shocking scenes. Of course, we all understand that when Gen Zs stormed Parliament, one of the arms of the government, they were butchered, they were killed. We've known that. And Gen Zs have said that they will never forget. But now what shocked many is the fact that BBC is revealing our KDF that has always been trusted by Kenyans was also involved in the act of killing our people, according to the BBC exposure. Now, we cannot use the videos from BBC because we don't have the rights. But even in their print platform, they have said they aimed to kill. BBC identifies security forces who shot Kenya anti-tax protesters. And one of the things that they are saying, just the highlights, is that they have identified one of the KDF members who killed Kenyans during the protest. And they say that they have analyzed more than 5,000 images, not just 2 or 20 or 200 or 1,000, 5,000 images that they singled out and they have analyzed them. These videos and pictures were taken by journalists and even the Gen Zs themselves. And they are saying that our constitution allows for the freedom of picketing and protest as long as we are unarmed, and they add that the protesters who were killed were unarmed, they never posed any danger. And then they say that the Parliamentary Committee on Security sat down and they ordered that they wanted the investigations into the killing of masses in June 2024. And that the report will be brought to us, and that will be the role of the IPOA, the Independent Police Oversight Authority, that has been charged with the responsibility of looking into the atrocities committed by our police, but that has not happened to date. And BBC concludes that Kenyans were butchered. The exposure has not gone down well with the members of parliament that are allied to the broad-based. and they are now crying foul. They are, as usual, they are now calling for the revocation of the work permit of BBC in the country. Why? Because BBC has exposed them, and they are saying that BBC exaggerated facts. And that is very unfortunate that now, because BBC has exposed them, they want BBC licenses to be revoked. Ladies and gentlemen, BBC is explaining that they analyzed those videos and photos using what they call camera metadata. And they also explain that they plotted the 3 killings that they were analyzing on a 3D construction of Kenya's parliament that allowed them to trace the fatal shots back to the rifles of a police officer and a soldier. Basically, BBC used all the means to ensure that what they were giving was accurate. I know most of you have watched these, and we've also watched other documentaries that they give. They are very accurate, very bold, because they owe no allegiance to anyone in the country. In this video, I want us to look at reasons why this has really damaged William Ruto, and this is why it has become a thorn in the flesh, and why they are now worried and they are calling for the revocation of the BBC work permit or licenses, because it's really tormenting them. This is one of the things that is going to give William Ruto sleepless nights. Trust me. Before we do this, allow me to request you to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. Please like our videos and share the videos if you can. It really goes a long way in supporting the channel. Thank you very much for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto has been a man who wants to endear himself to the outside world, telling them that he's the best president, loved by his people, one who was overwhelmingly elected across all the tribes. But this comes against the backdrop of a man who has been held with a lot of suspicion. People like Julius Malema once told us that William Ruto is a hypocrite. He says one thing today, and the other day he says another. He's blowing hot and cold, speaking from both sides of the mouth. So he has been exposed here as the killer of his own people. And this is coming at a time when just recently, Rigathi Gachagua said that William Ruto is part and parcel of the Hemedi group that is responsible for the killing of masses in Sudan. This really exposed William Ruto in the international front. A man who invites a person who is responsible for killings and allowing him to form another government in his own soil. He did the same with Corneille Nangaa when Congo was approaching elections, and Corneille Nangaa came and launched their campaign, slogans in the country. This time round, it is now moving from William Ruto supporting the killings in another country, now killing his own people. That is what BBC is telling the whole world. And it's really going to damage William Ruto's image. A man who has been one day he was invited at the European Parliament and he addressed them. A man who was very close to Joe Biden. A man who always says that he's committed to peacekeeping in our surrounding, in the East Africa and Africa as a whole. Now it is coming out that he's not committed to peace at all, but a man who is very controversial, a man who has soaked his hands in blood of his own people, killing young people. Number two, this exposure has really exposed the fallacy in the broad-based government. When other MPs are saying that, BBC has exaggerated facts, just recently Raila Amolo Odinga told us that the people who are killed during Gen Z's protest must be compensated. Now, they want to pretend that they do not understand the killings. We have always known that the police killed Gen Zs, but we've never known that the KDF was also involved. So it is going to expose this kind of marriage as one that was only meant for selfish gain, self-aggrandizement. They never went there for the good of the people. They've always pretended that it is meant for unity. It is not. In fact, people always call Raila Amolo Odinga a traitor, msaliti. Why? Because many feel that he rode on Gen Z's blood. to come to the government. Of course, sometimes I've listened to the explanations that Kenya would have gone to the dogs. Kenya would have gone the Somali way. I don't know. But this has really exposed the fallacy. When people were killed, and Raila Amolo Odinga is one person who has been championing the rights of the youth, the rights of Kenyans against the killings. Yet during that time, he joined Ruto and nothing has happened, no compensation. The IPO has not investigated, has not come out or come up with any resolutions or any report. Yet they are enjoying themselves. Raila donated his people to work in the government. Everything is moving normally. This has really exposed this broad-based government, and it is not about unity. That is what many people say. Before this exposure, the relationship between Kenyans and KDF has been one that is very cordial. And I remember even during that demonstration, there was a time when KDF came out from the barracks. And Kenyans were so happy because they felt that it is the police that is killing them. And they even hung on police vehicle. They were shouting and they were very happy because they felt that the only friend in the security sector that they have is the KDF. Now it is coming out that one of the KDF members was responsible, joined hands with the police in killing them. And this is really going to tarnish the name of our KDF, one that we have always held in high esteem. We've always believed that they are there for us. They have always protected us. Now it is coming out that maybe we were wrong. But another person was also saying that we should single out that KDF officer, not the whole fraternity. So it is going to really weaken the relationship between the normal Kenyan mwananchi, the civilian, and the KDF. Trust me, because Kenyans have always said that these are our friends. The finance bill is with us. It is looming in the offing. Remember what brought or took Gen Zs to the streets was the finance bill 2024. Now the finance bill 2025 is coming, and this exposure is coming at a time when things are very delicate and very precarious. Already, people are in the process, parliamentarians are in the process of looking at the budget, their submissions, and Kenyans are watching. They're saying, we are watching you. You took us for granted in the year 2024, we are watching you. And then this exposure comes at this moment. It is going to be very difficult for William Ruto. It is going to be very difficult for our parliamentarians because this is a poignant reminder of the cruel hands of this regime. Even as the budget making process is taking place, when government will come up with the taxes, I can assure you that Gen Zs are going to say, this is the same thing that resulted into our deaths. We are ready. There's already very bad blood between the Kenyan mwananchi, the Gen Z, the parents who lost their children, and the government. So this, exposure coming at this time is really going to be very, very delicate for William Samoei Ruto because there is no trust. And I don't know how they are going to execute their budget making because already there is suspicion and Kenyans just feel that our government is keen on just hiking prices of commodities, levying taxes on us, and they are not considerate of the Kenyan, the normal mwananchi. So the relationship between 2024 and the finance bill 2025 is here, and the BBC is not giving William Ruto any space. The last one, ladies and gentlemen, ahead of 2027, Gen Zs keep on reporting. If you look at the social media, they say, we shall never forget, we were killed. Now they have a backup from the BBC. So they are saying, if you didn't believe us, now there is an independent reporter who is saying we were killed. And they're using this to remind themselves, we have our number one enemy. Our arch-rival is William Samoei Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza government. And if there isn't any other reason why we should kick out this government, then we have just one, that we were killed. It is going to be very difficult for William Ruto to start winking the youths again. Anytime he will talk to them, they will retreat to the social media and they will say, we were killed. This is the man who killed us. And that's why this exposure, this report by BBC has really damaged the image of William Ruto. It has really made things very difficult for William Ruto ahead of 2027. I don't know how he's going to maneuver. I don't know what he's going to do Uhuru on one side is telling them it is your time. The BBC is telling them you are killed, giving them an impetus, the energy, the more reason even to fight for their rights, to ensure that come 2027, the whole of the Kenya Kwanza team is voted out. I don't know what you think, but I believe that is the reason why they are very bitter. The members of the broad-based government are very bitter because they have been exposed the fallacy. I don't know what to think, but siku ya nyani kufa miti yote iteleza.